Once more, let me welcome you to today's discussions in the series of understanding fundamentals of entrepreneurship. And I hope you are enjoying the series. As I said, we want you to understand this important area if you are to develop as an individual, if you are to help your country develop, or your organizations to develop. So what I'm going through here is to make you acquire the necessary knowledge, exposure, and eventually the experience, what I call the 3 E's. The education of it, as a knowledge, the exposure, then the experience. The 3 E's: education, exposure, and experience. Let's look at another important area in this education and exposure. It is important to understand how can someone become an entrepreneur. How would somebody want to undertake any venture or create a business? What are the factors, what are the inducing factors, the motivating factors that to make somebody venture or make any undertaking at all in business? From there, we look to understand who are societal role models, who are the role models that we like to be inspired by the role models. We look at how do you identify business opportunity, how do you understand business opportunity. And of course, all this can be referred to from the course materials. For someone to become an entrepreneur, there are 2 major factors that will make you become an entrepreneur. And they are categorized as the push factors and the pull factors. So you can be motivated to become an entrepreneur or to enter the business either by the push factors or the pull factors. The question then is, what are these factors? The push factors I can see normally something is pushing you. It means it's a force that's not unpleasant, something forcing you. It's pushing you. It's important for us to know, such as what? If you are responding to what? Change conditions of your life. You migrated from one place to another, it's a factor pushing you. If you migrate from, let's say, Ghana to the US, it's not your area, no land. What do? You're likely to be pushed into something, and that something always is some kind of business. or a venture. Or you can push into business because your current level of income is not sufficient, so you are pushed to seek further source of income. It's a push factor. Or you are laid off from business, from employment, it's a push factor. As against the pull factors. The pull factors, they pull you into the heart, into business. These are the factors that pull you into it. And these pull factors may include some available odds. Any available opportunity that you have, you think that the way things are, you can take advantage of it. Once you say I'm taking advantage of a situation that is near to your benefit, then it's normally a pull factor. It's magnetic, it's a pull factor. Such as parental background, your parents were so and so, so also must be you. It's pulling you. Your past experience of workplace, you see this most often times retired bankers set out, also have banking hut companies. Retired educationists normally have schools. So these are their pull factors because of past experiences. Another pull factor is a peer influence. Colleagues influencing you to do something. It's a pull factor. If your friend has done it, you also want to do it. And that comes under what we call the peer influence. Colleague influence, roommate influence. Remember I told you about Macmillan's trainees. David Macmillan's trainees, and I hope you remember them. The need for achievement, the need for internal locus of control, and the need for affiliations in the earlier lectures. You can see how peers can even influence you. So what are the factors we mentioned? The push factors, as I get the pull factors. The conditions under each of them, we've named them. So take note of them. We want to look at who are societal role models. Societal role models are individuals who serve as models to you in a society. If I should ask you now, who are your models? Who do you aspire to be in any area at all of life? Who do you admire? You want to be like him? Who is inspiring you? You often hear in Ghana, somebody's inspirational speakers inspiring you. So the question is, who is there in a society in Ghana, in Africa, and in the world at large, inspiring you? People like that are called societal role models. And very often they are people who must excel in their chosen profession, their chosen trade, or vocation. They go ahead to contribute to the well-being of the society, of their communities. And finally, they live a life worthy of emulations. These are sort of role models. It can be cross-gender, it can be what? A male, a model can be what? A female, doesn't matter. can be cross age, a young person, or an older person, cross culture, European, it's against African, so it doesn't matter. What the person serving as a role model to you, inspiring you to become somebody. His ways of life, but essentially, he must excel his area of what? Profession, trade, or vocation. Go ahead to contribute to the well-being of his society or the world at large. Then character-wise, he's there to live a life worthy of emulations. And the question then is, who is that person that you can aspire to in Ghana as an entrepreneur? There are many entrepreneurs in Ghana. May name them. Park Syndrome is one. Kofi Amwabe. And many more. Villas. In the olden days, this lady, Nkulenu, one of the pioneers, entrepreneurs. So this could serve as role models in any other area at all. And it's important for you to understand them. See them. Internationally, of course, Bill Gates may be too big for you. But Richard Branson, keep on mentioning Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, people like that in the IT areas. So any area, the person there can be a role model. You want to go ahead to identify, how do we identify an opportunity? How, if you want to become an entrepreneur, how do you identify an opportunity? And the opportunity is simply about, when you say an opportunity, it simply means any identified area of market need of a group of people with a purchasing power over time. That's an opportunity. Any identified area of market need of a group of people who eventually become what they call their target market. But those must have the requisite purchasing power over time to patronize your goods, to purchase your goods. Once you're able to identify that market need, where you can take advantage of, it means it's a business opportunity. And this day can be either a new area for a new market, for new products, new ways of organizing things. So look out there. Where nobody has maybe been there yet, you won't take advantage of. When you have something like that, it's called an opportunity. If you want somebody is there, can do it better. The market is normally never saturated, as we normally say in business. The market is never saturated. You enter it and do things better to satisfy that target market in the era of what? In this era of competition. So never say that people are there, you cannot enter. You can enter. Once you can do yours in a more satisfying way, it means you can still enter the market. So the market is never saturated. And once you're able to identify any hot market need, yet to be satisfied. Then there are people that you can market to, and these people are willing to buy your product, be it goods or services. It means you've identified an opportunity. Read more about it, the linkages, as the case may be. But in identifying the market, don't just jump into it. Do what is required as a risk calculating entrepreneur. Study the industry. What is that industry about? What are the players in that industry? What are the prospects of that industry from year 1 to 5 years from now? The tourism industry, education industry, or any other industry. The agri industry. What does it look like? Is this prospective? If you look at it from this year to 5 years to come. Some industries are what they call 9-day wonders. They may look prospective for now, but before you realize things are no more working there. So you have to look at all this. Study who are in it. What are the various segments of the market? So they can target one segment of it. What are the normal marketing practices in the area? How are things done in that industry? What are the trends? Future prospects for growth, and everything that you see in the market, happen in the market, find out what are the implications for you as an opportunity. Can you take advantage of it? Analyze your competitors as the case may be. If you have to make sales, can you make any projections in the market of the sales in the market, daily, monthly, or yearly? So you can see now that we are talking about a marketing discipline. So as I said from the beginning, entrepreneurship, once you study it, you are more or less studying about marketing. Just saw how it's influenced by psychology. Sometimes we have to understand how it is influenced by our value systems, our norms, that's sociology. And sometimes our geography, what happens in the north, in the south, in the east. So entrepreneurship is, for you to study it, is quite integrative of other areas of study. It's not one line area of study. It involves other areas of study. And you compare things always to help you decide whether to enter, to take a step to enter the business or not.